connect. So people, please keep your videos on if you can. And hopefully by next week, our regular connection should come through. Let's see how it works. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Ashvalayanaha
Atha Ashvalayanaha
Bhagavantam Parameshtinam
Bhagavantam Parameshtinam
Upasametyo Vacha
Upasametyo Vacha
Upasametyo Vacha
Adihi Bhagavo Brahma Vidyam Varishtham
Adihi Brahmo Brahma Vidyam Varishta
Sada Sadbihi Sevyamanam Nigudham
Sada Satbihi Sevyamanam Nigudam
Yayachirat Sarva Papam Vyapohya
Yayachirat Sarva Papam Vyapoha
Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidvan
Parat
Parat
Param
Param Purusham Yati Vidvan.
Valayanaha, an Acharya in the Rig Veda, approaches Brahmaji, Pitamaha. Several things come out in this. One, the fact that there is a parampara, there is a lineage of learning. Two, that one has to go to a guru, and we will see why, for gaining this knowledge. So he goes to the guru, Upasameptyo Vacha. He asks the guru, the third thing. You have to go to the guru, you have to ask the guru saying, I want to know, please tell me. And then what does he ask? Typically, all the Shishyas in the Upanishads are already very knowledgeable people of great achievement. Which is why I keep saying it's so much easier to lead Bhagavad Gita, much simpler, because although Arjuna is a man of fantastic achievement in various fields in the Loka, in many ways he is like us. Whereas these other Shishyas, whether it's Ashvalayana, Ashvetaketu, or any of the others, already know a lot. They frame the question itself in such a way that it reveals their extent of their knowledge. What is beyond dharma, adharma? What is it, knowing which it is, you know everything. What happens after death? Does something survive? What is it that survives? Is there something that I need to know which makes me karmakrit. I don't have to do anything after that. Questions themselves reveal the extent of knowledge the Sishyas have. Arjuna is much simpler than, more like us, like he said. He only says, I'm confused. I want to know. I accept you as the teacher. Please tell me. And Arshavidyalaya also is already an acharya. Although we don't see much of his name appearing here in this text, in many other places in the Shastra, he is shown as somebody who is very well versed in the Shastras. So he goes and says, Adihi, please teach me. This Adihi is a very funny word. You come across this word also in Taittiriya Upanishad. Adihi bhagavo brahmeti. You ask, please teach me. But the word itself, it's ik dhatu. Ik smarane. May you remember. May you bring forth the memory. Here, it's a lot lakara. He says, please teach me. In fact, Shankaracharya says, Upadeshe, Kathaya, Adhyapaya, please teach me. So it's Adhihi. Whom does he say? Adihi Bhagavaha. We've seen very quickly. Is one who has all the bhaga. Brahma Vidyam Varishtam. What do you want to know? What does he want to know? That Brahma Vidya, that Vidya which is Varishtam. So the Tikakara calls it Atishayatena Shreshtham. The most exalted knowledge, Paravidya. That knowledge, which is knowledge which can be known. See, normally what happens when you are discussing with somebody and then you say this knowledge is not accessible to any of the Jnanendriyas. It's not accessible. It's Atita, everything Atita. Indriya Atita. Not accessible to any of the Indriyas. Where Vak and Manas go and come back without knowing. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. You don't get it. Then the question immediately comes to mind, if it can't be got by this normal method that I know how to learn anything, how to know anything, then does that mean it's not knowable? If it is not knowable, why am I wasting my time? I might as well go and do something else and gain some relative sukha. Because if I'm going to struggle like this, and at the end of it, I don't gain what I'm looking for, that Brahma Vidya, what is the use? So he says, Adhihi Bhagavo Brahma Vidyam Varishtham Sada Sadbhi Sebhyamana. That it is also Niguda. Niguda is that which is covered, which is secret. That knowledge which is such a secret, which is not accessible by any of the senses, but I know it can be got despite all these phrases, Nigudam, Rahasyam, Indriyatitaha. Despite all that, why? How do you know that it can be achieved? Because he says, sada sadbihi sevyamana. Sadbihi is wise people. Which wise people, which is pursued by white people, by wise people. Constantly. Sada sadbihi. Why constantly? This is one knowledge which you abide in. It is not knowledge which comes and goes. What is that one knowledge which you can abide in? Sada. Knowledge of yourself. Everything else becomes knowledge of objects. Outside I. So to make sure that we understand that this knowledge is knowable. Yes. Sada sadbihi sevyamanam, which is pursued by wise people all the time, in which people abide in. There's nishtha, brahmanishtha. So wise people have got this knowledge. They are in this knowledge. They are this knowledge. So it is something, despite it being not accessible to the senses, knowledge which can be got. Because wise people pursue this, resort to this knowledge all the time. They have that nishtha. And this is a niguda. That despite being the Atma of every being, it is not known because of avidya. Therefore, it's a rahasya vishayam. We pursue knowledge of objects. And the more we pursue, the more knowledge we get. But at no point can one say, now I am no more ignorant about the subject that I'm pursuing. I've got a double doctorate in the subject. But I still cannot say I am no more ignorant about the subject. In fact, the more one knows, the more one also knows how much more there is to know. Therefore, this pursuit of knowledge, as long as it is restricted to knowledge of objects, will always be incomplete. There is only one knowledge, the knowledge of myself, the true nature of the self, which I can comfortably say there is nothing more to know. Because it is Purnam. Very funny. Knowing which I know everything. One who knows this, gains this knowledge, knows everything. How do you say he knows everything? There are people who we assess as being jnanis, but they may not know. If you ask them what is Vanta black, I went to search for this word. What is Vanta black? He may not know. I didn't know till I went and searched for this word. I believe Vanta black is something that has been created, nano object, which absorbs 99.98% of light. Normally what happens, light is reflected partly absorbed. That's how we get different colors and all that, depending upon which wavelength is absorbed and which wavelength is reflected. Vanta black absorbs almost all the light. When you make a definition like that, that object, what does it immediately remind you of? A black hole. A black hole is one that absorbs 100% of the light. That concept itself is difficult to understand. So just because I've gained this knowledge, Brahma Vidya, do you know Vanta black? One may not know. How do you justify the statement that knowing which you know everything? That Vidya, which is Varishtha. To this, in the Chandogya Upanishad, many examples are given. If you know the properties of gold, you know the properties of every object made of gold. If you know clay, you know every object made of clay. But what you may not know is three things which are not relevant. I'll tell you why. One is Nama. I didn't know what Vanta black was. That's only a name for me. It's only a word. It's as good as the Buddha. I don't know what Vanta black is. The name. The form. I know this gold, but he's got a new product made of gold in the goldsmith shop. I don't know what it is. I also don't know the form that he's given it. And I may also not know, you ask that fellow, what do you use it for? It's got a very funny shape. I've never seen this shape before. What are you going to use it for? What does your buyer, customer use it for? You may not know. But then, these are all mithya. None of these has any substance. They are not dravya. There's only one substance in that universe of gold, which is gold itself. So if you take the same analogy, in this Jagat, once I know Brahman, I have Brahma Vidya, then everything in this Jagat is like the gold ornament in relation to gold. I may not know the name, form, and function. But then those are all only mithya. They don't have any substance. But I know that all of them are non-different from the cause of them, the karanam, which is Brahman. Then I have to go to the next step and understand that that Brahman is I. And then all this difficulty of saying, separating the I from the body, mind, sense complex and putting the body, mind, sense complex into the Nama-Rupa category. I become Brahman, not become. I is Brahman. So this statement that knowing Brahman, knowing Brahma Vidya, that Varishtha Vidya, it is as though you know everything. You have to understand correctly. Then the skeptic might say, Swami G, you say he's a jnani, but he can't speak Maithili. He doesn't even know what Maithili is. Who is this Maithili? Maithili is a language in Bihar. He may not know how to speak Maithili. But it doesn't need to know. So the statements like this, which is now making Sada Sadhi Sevyavan Nigudham Varishtham Brahma Vidyam Adhihi. Please teach me that knowledge which is Varishtha, which is Niguda. I'm coming to you because I know it's Niguda and I can't get it on my own. You will find the next verse even more interesting, what Brahmaji has to say to him. That Nigudham Brahma Vidyam, please teach me. Not only did he ask, please teach me that, give me that knowledge. He knows what is the benefit. Why should I know? Why would he go and ask a guru for that knowledge if he doesn't see a benefit? Every Shishya in every Upanishad asks because he sees the value for oneself. He knows that there is something that needs to be known. Why don't more and more people ask for this knowledge? He says Niguda. Because of this. What is the use of studying Vedanta? What is the use of the knowledge? How is it going to benefit me? Because we all work on the basis of WIIFM. What is in it for me? WIIFM. All of us work on the basis. Why should I do something unless there's a benefit for me? So you want to know why studying this and understanding Brahma Vidya is beneficial to me. Now, if you say that if I study Brahma Vidya and understand from the Guru, I'm going to become a multimillionaire, a lot of people will be interested. Because somehow we have gotten ahead that that is what I want. Millions of whatever currency you want. In many of the stories you will find, when somebody finds a method for getting a boon, whether it is a magic lamp or because you please some form of God, what do people ask for? Very limited things. But if we understand that Brahma Vidya is not going to give me millions, it can, but it's not what I'm looking for. It's not going to give me extended life. It's not going to give me health. It's not going to give me a new house that I've been eyeing. But it will remove that sense of inadequacy I carry with me all the time. The cause for all sorrow. The cause for all my pain. If there is a wise man who comes and says to you, I will give you knowledge which will remove the very cause for your worries, cause for your grief, cause for your pains, I would be interested. Because as a human being, every human being has to go through this problem. Somebody sent me a small story. One fellow was saying, lamenting, saying, my life is so bad, I have so many problems. So the other fellow said, what do you think your problems? You know, Lord Shiva went to Lord Brahmaji saying, I have so many problems. He said, what is the problem? He said, you know, my son Ganesha has this mouse as a vahanam. I wear snakes all the time. The snake is eyeing my son's vahanam all the time. I have to deal with that. I have to manage them. In the process, my older son, who has peacock as a vahanam, he's eyeing the snake, my ornament. So I have a huge issue in my hand. My son's vahanam is eyeing my ornament. My ornament is eyeing my other son's vahanam. I have to deal with all that. Not only that, my wife Parvati is constantly eyeing me with suspicion because I carry Ganga in my hair. Ganga is a sister, but she still eyes me with suspicion all the time. So even Shiva has a lot of problems. Brahmaji told him, you have problems, all right, I have bigger problems. You know, all the people pray to me. They want my wife Lakshmi all the time. And once again, they don't want to let go. So you're not the only one with problems. Even devas have problems. But if you can find a way of a particular knowledge which will remove the very cause of these problems. What was Arjuna's difficulty? Why am I subject to grief? Why should I be subject to grief? You are subject to grief because you're a human being. And you're the only one who can question saying, why am I subject to grief? And is there a way of removing that? Ashwalayana knew that there is this knowledge which is very secret because knowledge of you, which is not easily available. He says, Yaya chirat sarva papam vyapohya parat param purusham yati vidvan. Yaya, by which vidya? By Brahma Vidyaya, achirat, before long, not next janma after that, but before long, depending upon how ready a person is. Achirat sarva papam vyapohya. Sarva papam is all the ills. Why am I subject to all of these? What is it that causes this problem for me? Whether Ashwalayana had understood even beyond, we don't know. But he understood this much, that there is knowledge which, if I can address and gain, sarva papam vyapohya. The root cause of all evil is ignorance. I get hurt in my mind, physically. If somebody says hurtful words, I immediately go into a bad phase. These are all caused by what? Can I remove all these? Sarva papa phalam, can I remove? Yes, you can. Ashwayana knows. It is only because I don't know. I am ignorant that I suffer all this. I also didn't know there was a problem like that. He only knew that I have to get out of the situation. And what did Bhagavan do in the second chapter? Bulk of second chapter, Bhagavan simply tells him, all you have to understand is you are not this body, mind, sense complex. Till then, Bhagavan didn't say anything. Only at that stage, he says that some people think he is the victim. Some people think he is the perpetrator. Both are wrong. Both avana vijanitaha nayam hantina hanyate. Because of your ignorance or a wrong conclusion that you've drawn, you're making these assumptions. You are not subject to any of these. It's only a matter of understanding the nature of I. That real nature of I is not subject to any of these. By wrongly placing the I in the body or in the mind or in the senses or in the whole total complex, I become subject to grief. Very big thing. Not easy to grasp. That's why it's Niguda. That is Brahma Vidya. What is my true nature? So this ignorance is the root cause of all evils. All ills that I suffer. All the papa karma phala that I suffer. Only ignorance. So he says, yaya, by which knowledge this ignorance can be removed. And once that ignorance is removed, there's nothing left. And that will be removed achira, before long. How long? Nobody can say. It depends on the individual. But it could happen right now in this lifetime for you. He knows that. So yaya achirat sarva papam vyapohya. Vividam paritajya vinashayet ityartha. Tikakara. Vyapohya. In every way, that drops off. Because ignorance drops off. Ignorance is the root cause. And once that happens, what happens? Once you have gained the state where ignorance is gone by the Brahma Vidya and ignorance are mutually exclusive, like light and darkness. Where light is, darkness cannot be. Where that Vidya is, there can be no ignorance. But Vidya must be clear and firm, and we will see what are the steps gaining that. Where Vidya is, there can be no avidya. And where there is no avidya, there is no grief. There's still, pain is still there. The body might still pain, but I don't associate myself with the body. Body is in pain. Ramana Maharishi must have been in great pain when they operated upon him. Pujya Swami G must have been in great pain every day when he was going through dialysis. But associated with it. There is no abhimana. All ills drop off. Then what happens? Which comes first, we will see. By knowing this, by gaining the Brahma Vidya, Sarva Papam Vyapohya, Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidva. By Sarva Papam is Nikhilam Dukkha Karanam, Ajnanam. By gaining this knowledge, Parat Param. Param is Utkrishtam. We've seen that. The highest form, Parat Param. That and we have looked at higher than the highest. Parat also can mean Sarva Jagat Karanat. Param, Utkrishtam. That Parat Param Purusha. Purusha has two meanings. Pru Dhatu has two meanings. Pure Vasati, what is within in every being. And it also means that which inheres everything. So in a sense that just that word Purusha with its two meanings gives us that simple equation between Brahman and I. I identify with what is within. Navadvare Pure Dehi. That Dehi, that who dwells in the Deha, I, is the same as that which inheres everything. Purusha. That also indicates the oneness. That Purusham, which is Parat Param, Prapnoti Yati. That Aham, which all this while I had identified with the body, mind, sense complex, that Aham now becomes no more that, becomes Atma, the self, Brahman. Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidwan. And that wise man, that Vidwan, Jnani, gains the Parama Purusha. I use the word gains, but really is understands I am Parama Purusha. Ahamasmi, Sohamasmi. Then once this Vidya is gained, then what is there to be gained? Nothing else left. Nothing left to do, nothing left to know. Because I have understood myself as that Parat Param Purusham, which is infinite. Therefore, I have nothing more to know and nothing more to do. I do not need anything else. Atmanam ched vijaniya kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusvajaret. Once I know myself to be Purna, for whose benefit, for whose sake does the person need to do anything with the Sharira? Still has to eat. There is Sharira there And that's a result of karma. The karma with which one is born, karma which dictates what kind of sharira one gets, prarabdha karma is still there. So sharira has to go through everything. But why would that person make any effort to do anything other than maintain the sharira? Because the sharira has to be there to experience the balance of the prarabdha karma. Kimichanna kasya kamaya. Desiring what? Would you want to strain the body? Body, even know body mind sense complex. This is the phalam. Yaya chirat sarva papam vyapohya parat param purusham yati. That Vidwan gains the entirety, purusham yati. Now what happens? He has formed this question very beautifully. He is not like some people do, no? You have a question and answer session. The fellow will get up or maybe write one page full of something or the other. Or if he gets up and starts talking, he doesn't stop. He's very clearly put his question. Please teach me Brahma Vidya. That Vidya which is the highest. That Vidya which is not easy to gain. It is Gudam. Covered. That Vidya, knowing which a person is freed of all papa. The same thing as what the Nachiketa said, no? Dharma, dharma, atita. No papa punya. No punya also, no papa also, nothing. Knowing which one gains Parama Purusham. That's all his question. Now his Guru, Brahmaji, has to answer him. Despite the fact that Ashwalayana is a very highly knowledgeable man, very highly educated, very knowledgeable about the Shastras, Brahmaji immediately does not give him a direct reply. Again, you'll find this in every Upanishad. Nachiketa asks for this knowledge. Yamadharmaraja kept telling him, this is not what you want. I will give you all the wealth. Alaukika wealth also, alaukika music, alaukika dance, alaukika vahana. I'll give you long life. Everything I'll give you. Why don't you take that instead? He said, no. All that is finite. What I'm asking you for is the knowledge of the infinite. So even Yamadharmaraja didn't tell him immediately. In fact, a whole chapter full of trying to tempt him. In other cases, we've not done Prashnopanishad yet. There also, all the students go to Pippalada, the Guru. He says, for 1 year, you do service. Then we will see. He doesn't even say, at the end of it, I'll tell you. Ramakrishna Mission does that, no? You go to Ramakrishna Mission, because when you go, you don't know what you want. You know that there is something to know. We are not even like Ashwalayana. We are more like Arjuna. We know there is something to know, but what it is, we don't know. We don't even know what to ask for. So Ramakrishna Mission, they will put you through seva. Attach you to a sannyasi. Morning 4 o'clock till night 10 o'clock, you are busy. And then once the Guru has verified that he is ready, then he might be given that knowledge in one part of Ramakrishna called Advaita, Advaita Academy, I think, Advaita something. It is only that Puja Swami Ji, anybody who comes and says, Swami Ji, I want to know. I don't know what is to know, but I want to know. So all Swami Ji checks for us, do we have the commitment? Do you have the staying power? Are you coming with an open mind? It's perfect in that Bhagavad Gita. That viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Are you willing to think and ask and try and understand? The Guru does not ask you to believe. There's nothing to believe. You have to know. If you say, I believe, you don't know. So Guru will only look at saying that Shishya has come and asked for this knowledge. How sincere is he in asking for this knowledge? How committed is he to gaining this knowledge? And then he will either start teaching immediately or put them through various phases. One of the methods that Swami adopts in this, when somebody comes to him and says, teach me, I would like to join your 3-year course. Swamiji would run a 2 or 3 month course only on Bhagavad Gita. And usually there are over 200 people. When we studied, there were over 200 people studying with Swamiji. Bhagavad Gita. Out of that, only about 70 or 80 survived to stay on for the 3-year course. People have other commitments, other problems, other issues. So there is some form of filter that the Guru applies, whatever form he or she decides to apply, to see how committed the person is in wanting to gain this knowledge. In fact, there are other Upanishads where for several years the Guru sent them back. Go and come back, go and come back, go and come back. Till the Guru feels that the person is ready. So here also, Brahmaji does not immediately say, oh, this is Brahmavidya. He can't do it. You can't do it anyway. What can he say? Tattvamasi. Unlike, like we saw last time, other knowledge, which is gradual, you learn 1 + 1 = 2, then you learn algebra, then you learn integral calculus, then you learn all the other advanced mathematics, till you finally go to understand E = mc². This knowledge is not like that. There's only one thing. You are Purnaha, Tattvamasi, Am Brahmosmi. There's nothing else. So we have also seen the last 4 years we've been doing this every time. That's all it is. So some people in turn say, Swami, you keep saying the same thing over and over again. Yes. There's nothing else to say. If you understood, you can go home. But it's not easy to understand. Not easy to understand, A, because it is Niguda. B, because it goes completely against whatever I thought I knew. So it takes time, it takes effort. And then there is this huge habit that we have over not this Janma, but many Janmas. All that has to be helped along. So Brahmaji here also does not immediately say to Arshavidyalaya, oh, you wanted Brahma Vidya. You're already great person of great erudition, I will tell you Tattvamasi. Got it? Okay, go. Narada couldn't get it like that. When he went to Sanat Kumara, he writes several chapters for each Upanishad. Then you read another Upanishad, then you read another Upanishad. Then you read Bhagavad Gita, then you read Brahma Sutra. Somewhere along the line, hopefully the idea will gel. So Brahmaji simply says, you want to know this? I will tell you how to know it. Brahmaji says, there is a potato. Tasmai sahovacha.
Tasmai Sahovacha
Pitamahasya.
Pitamahascha
Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davehi.
Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Dehi.
Says, Tasmai Sahovacha. Who tells him Pitamaha? Brahmaji tells him what? Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Avehi. May you know through Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyanam, may you know, Avehi. It is like what happened to Bhrigu. Bhrigu went to his father. Bhrigu Kaivalya and asked the same thing. Adihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. Hey Bhagavan, tell me what is Brahman? And there he told him, you know Brahman through tapas. And tapas on what? Tapas on Brahman, from which everything has arisen, which sustains everything, and into which everything resolves. Go and do tapas. So Bhrigu went and did tapas. And in a very series of steps, we start by saying, Annam. Annam is food. Annam must be Brahman. Because from Annam, everything comes, all beings come. Therefore, it satisfies that condition. Annam sustains all beings. And when the person dies, it goes back into the earth to become Annam again. So, Annadeva Sarvani Khalvani Bhutani Jayante, they're born of Annam. They maintain by Annam. They resolve back into Annam. I thought he discovered it, goes back to his father. I know Annam is Brahman. Father tells him, go and do some more tapas. Well, he goes on. Very interesting section of Taittiriya Upanishad or Bhrigu. So the Guru does not immediately answer, because immediately if you answer, you cannot gain the knowledge. There are two reasons why without the Guru's unfoldment of this, one cannot understand. Firstly, because we are so conditioned to trying to gain knowledge of objects that it doesn't gel when you say you want knowledge of the self. And we apply the same rules we apply for object understanding to try and do this. It doesn't work. And secondly, when the Guru says tattvamasi, only words. It's only, I agree, it's tattvamasi. Only a belief, it's not knowledge. I've read, I know Sanskritam very well. I've read this Upanishad. It says tattvamasi, Chandogya Upanishad. I understand. You don't understand, you only believe because you have Shraddha. Because the words have a meaning called Vachyartha, the word meaning itself. English, you translate it, thou that art. You are that. It doesn't mean a thing, but I believe. What you want is that the Guru should unfold this story. What is the intent behind it? What is it trying to say? All because this knowledge that we're trying to gain is knowledge of the self, not of the object. And you take any text, you take Bhagavad Gita, unless you know the whole, individual verses don't make any sense. And unless you study the individual verses, the whole doesn't, you can't understand the whole. It is some form of Anyonya Ashraya. If you don't know this, you can't know this. If you don't know this, you can't know this. Back to zero. You know, it's like somebody has put on a lot of weight. The doctor says, a wise man says, every day you have to run or walk at least 1 hour. Now, the person also has a knee pain. To get rid of the knee pain, he has to rest. Now, to get rid of the fat, he has to walk. To walk, he needs knee to be in good shape. Anyonya Ashraya. You can't do this because of this, you can't do this because of this. And somebody said, why don't you go swimming? So the fellow said, no, I have a problem because I have a problem in the ear. It's my ear problem. So studying any Shastra is like that. Unless you know the individual verses, you don't know the total. Unless you have the vision of the total, you can't understand the individual verses. How can you get out of this Anyonya Ashraya cycle? Mutual dependence. We will look at that tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om